righty. We will get started in just a minute with this live stream. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows what we're going to do?
Possibly.
Let's see here. Make sure everything is up and running. Maybe. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Oh, there we are. No, I don't. Oh, don't be advertising on our shit there, YouTube.
I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have ads.
They don't want to give us no money, but yet they'll advertise Sunday Ticket on our shit. Go.
Oh, my hair's getting long.
Bite my dick. Yeah, I said it. Oh.
My hair getting long.
How's the audio sound on your end? Is it working? All right. Because I forgot my headphones are hooked up.
Nice.
In the other room, my Bluetooth. All
nice.
Right. We will get started with this UFO Saturday live stream. It's been a while. What's up? Happy Saturday to you as well. Is that a secret handshake I don't know about? What the hell?
No, it's just me being really awkward.
Well, you are an expert at being really freaking awkward.
You have no idea.
Yeah, but we are covering UFOs. We don't cover UFOs that much anymore, really.
I feel like it's fucking boring now because the government's like, they're there.
Well, I want to talk about that because for those people in the live stream already, it's been big news.
Yeah.
The past, this year.
2 years-ish.
Yeah, but things are really, there's been some, I think disclosures starting to come, but we'll get on that. We'll hop on that as soon as we go live or officially start this podcast. So it's been a while since we've been here. Hopefully one day we'll get our shit straight, but I doubt it. Oh, let's see. I think the audio's good. I look good. You look like shit. We're good. Things are typical around here now.
Yeah, you know.
I'm sober. You not so much.
Today I am.
You're still probably drunk from Thursday.
No, I'm all right.
All right.
What the fuck?
Are you spamming us?
No, I already did.
You already spammed? Oh shit! You already spammed us?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I'm just reading current events.
Chalupa's laying there looking at us. Our studio of one.
Huh?
What? What are we on?
A newly discovered ancient creature may have been the heaviest animal ever.
We'll save that till when we start. Jesus.
I will.
All right, you ready? I'm going to play the intro.
Yeah, fuck it.
Well, maybe, if I remember how to do it. And here we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the GITM podcast, formerly Ghost of the Night. It's all the same. It's all relative now.
Stuff, things, places.
Tonight, or this live stream, I should say, we are doing UFOs, which, like we were just talking about, we don't really do much UFO stuff anymore. We've covered a few of the famous ones, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to cover a famous, maybe one of the more interesting UFO sightings and cases or interactions, in my opinion. Plus, it's very topical nowadays with the UAP congressional hearings, which some revelations were made. If you want to read into that a little bit or you want to connect some dots. Exactly. So that's pretty much what this episode is going to be about. We're going to start out with the congressional hearing because I think I'm kind of fascinated. I think this is different than some of the other stuff that has been talked about in front of even Congress. I mean, I think this bears fruit to talk about, I think.
I don't know, but I'm just glad I found this article. I'm going to have to read into this now.
What art? Share it with us.
A partial skeleton of Parasitus consisting of 13 vertebrae, 4 ribs, and 1 hip bone was found. It's an ancient species of whale that may have had an estimate. It's so, for starters, it's shorter than that of a average blue whale that we have today. But its skeletal structure insists that it had a larger body mass, and they are estimating the body mass between 85 and 340 metric tons, which is 187,393 to 749,572 pounds.
Large and in charge.
It's almost 1 million pounds.
I don't do math on podcasts or live streams.
Like, that's almost 750,000 pounds. An animal, a living thing.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
I think they need to go on no fat shaming here.
That's a big motherfucker. Also, scientists tickle rats to learn about brain activity during play.
I was watching, I was going down a TikTok rabbit hole, or whatever they wanted me to go down, what rabbit hole they wanted me to go down, because it's all, the algorithm loves me. And for some reason, it wasn't giving me women with no bras dancing this time.
I don't know. I'll be honest, dude. I haven't been on TikTok in so long. Like and share the video if you love us.
But there was apparently, I was kind of confused, but apparently this person was talking about there are dinosaur fossils on the moon.
Says who?
I don't know. I did not dive that far into it, but I thought it was interesting, her explanation for it.
That the moon was was once part of the Earth that floated off during the impact?
There was a big collision, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you're more up to date on this than I am, but the Yucatan impact, which is thought to be what caused the dinosaurs to go extinct, was so great, and there might have been other ones that were bigger, but the impact was so dramatic, it threw out actual bones and everything out into space. And some of them landed on the moon, and possibly even made it as far as Mars. I think it's a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I feel like in order to, all right, let's break this down.
Break it down.
Let's try to be sciencey here. So let's put on our science hats. Let's put our thinking hats on. Fucking, what's her name? Miss Gribble? Or was that the bitch from Magic School Bus? We're going to Bill Nye this shit.
Bill Nye the shit out.
So, let's think of it like this. So if you were to take a bone from a dinosaur, let's say, just for shits and giggles, a Pachycephalosaurus.
Oh, you are just showing off now.
That's in the world of dinosaurs, manageably sized. Like, it would obviously kill the fuck out of us, but in comparison to a lot of the larger great lizards of the time, it's not massively huge. But you got to think, if you had, like, what we would know as a femur from something like that, it's got to weigh a decent amount of weight. So my thought process is, yes, we're dealing with a fucking crazy level of energy that is
released upon impact.
Yes, upon the impact of something of basically a world destroying astrological impact.
Right.
But like, I don't see how, if it's hitting the ground, I can't fathom a way where it causes so much direct trajectory that it sends something fast enough that it continues to climb through the gravitational pull of our atmosphere.
Right.
It doesn't get burnt up, or doesn't lose momentum to where it just falls back to Earth, to the point that it would break through the atmosphere and then continue a trajectory into a astrological body outside of our atmosphere.
Right.
And also, you would think the bone would just be fucking
dust,
vaporized by the impact.
Just the sheer amount of energy needed to repel from this planet.
Yeah,
it's to
insane.
Fight gravity. That is the hardest part of space travel. It's not space travel. It's getting outside of our gravitational pull.
It takes like tons and tons of rocket fuel to project something out of our atmosphere. And that's something that's made like with science and mathematics for the aerodynamics of said object to be able to do that.
Right.
We're talking about a bone that could be flipping and flapping everywhere.
I think she's full of shit.
I also kind of think she is.
I mean, it's an interesting thought.
It is, because I was actually just talking with Better Half about this, how mind-blowing this whole... Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a theory that... maybe I'm making this up.
The dinosaurs were taken by aliens?
No.
That is a theory.
That the moon is actually part of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There was a collision, and it broke off.
Yeah.
And so, depending on when... Maybe there could be fossils and dinosaur bones and shit on if it happened but I think this is when the Earth was still forming.
Or they're just leftovers from the Nazi base that's on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was watching something. I kind of get aggravated. The whole we did an episode, was the moon landing fake? Go back and check that out.
I don't think it was. Just foreshadow.
Throw it out there. But everybody talks about their Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong's demeanor, the way they were at the press conference, as proof that they were
the
alive.
one back in
when they came back.
Okay, I was gonna say not the one where Buzz Aldrin knocked the shit out of that one reporter.
No, that was just outside of
that was
hotel.
G
That
shit.
was awesome.
That was fucking great. You got damn near knocked the fuck out by like a 90-year-old man.
That's embarrassing.
But he's a fucking astronaut from the 60s. I feel like you're basically like
You're
just like Rogers. Yeah, you're like the most badass cowboy, like barebacking motherfucker of all time.
Think about these astronauts, and this is why whether you believe the space program is legitimate or not.
I mean, considering that it seriously looked like they just strapped a fucking like an aluminum foil pop tent on top of like a fucking like
tin can.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh yeah, throw some fucking tripod legs on there and a couple fucking cans of duster for trajectory control and send them up."
Well, think about these guys. Even if you don't think they went to space, we are surrounded by the firmament, you can't get to space. If that's what you believe, fine. But think about these gentlemen that were astronauts, the original astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't scientists like they are today in academics. These were badass individuals. These were test pilots.
Yeah, and I mean, arguably more so than the average man or woman.
Right, they were more scientific than...
Yeah, they weren't. We weren't sending fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson, because that's how it works. Like we're not... call me crazy. If we're going on a Virgin mission out into space to the moon, no offense to all of the families and the great men and women of the NASA space program in the year 1969, but I feel like anybody with half a brain ain't gonna send your best and brightest on the first fucking mission to the moon.
There's a reason why they sent chimpanzees and...
Yeah, you ain't strapping Einstein into that fucking thing and going, "Hey, go figure it out, stupid." No, you're going to be like, "Hey, Jethro, drop the mop, get in the fucking tin can. You're going to the moon."
We're going to light this candle.
You're sitting to the left of the monkey. The goldfish is going on the right. Don't you fucking touch any buttons while you're in there, you cocksucker.
But these guys were test pilots for the, Army, Air Force. And
they were crash test dummies.
They would get in experimental craft and push the limits.
Yeah.
They had no fear of death.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure they did, but they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, clearly, you can't. They're like that's why I want to know, where was the fine line between you're doing something great for your people, for your country, and where were the guys in the back just drinking coffee? They're like, fucking stupid idiots. There's like a 98% chance that these motherfuckers don't even make it off the goddamn launch pad.
Who was the first? Was it Yuri Giller or whatever, the Russian? Wasn't he the first to actually
to break the atmosphere? Yeah, it was Russia.
Yeah, I think it was Yuri. I think his name was Yuri Geller. But
his name's Yuri.
Think about him, and who was not? Glenn was the first to orbit. Who was the first? Was Shepard the first to actual go up and come down?
You're the one that was not alive, but it was much closer to your lifetime than mine.
Think about they'd come to you. They'd come to me and say, "Hey, we got an idea." Kennedy makes this big thing in 1962 about by the end of this decade we were going to the moon, all that bullshit. That was my shitty Kennedy.
Like, hey,
impersonation.
we can't fathom Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. That is mind-blowing technology. But go 150,000 miles away in this fucking hunk of metal and aluminum foil that we slapped together last week with a guy named Ted from Meineke.
But consider that meeting. Hey, we got an idea.
Hear us out.
We're going to strap you into a tin can with 1,000 gallons of rocket fuel. We're going to light an open flame, cause a massive explosion, and hurl your ass into space.
What kind of safety protocols are we working with here? We're doing pretty good. As of right now, you're going to be controlling this thing from the ridiculously comfortable bucket seat from a 1963 Toyota Corolla.
Well, think about the Mercury missions. They didn't control shit. They were just sitting there strapped in. Might have had a button to push to talk to somebody.
Right.
Light this candle.
What,
Fuck you.
What do we do if something goes wrong? You remember all those fucking tornado drills you did as a kid? You're pretty much going to execute that and just kiss your fucking happy ass goodbye. Because something goes wrong. I hate to break this to you, Mrs. Glenn, but something goes wrong up there. You fucked. And guess what? There's no policy for this one. We're flying by the seat of our pants. Old Glenny boy up there dies.
I might be wrong. Somebody might correct me. I know Glenn was the first to orbit the Earth. I think Shepard might have been the first one to actually.
Imagine how much that's got to be, from what I've seen, like it's interesting and like you're sciencing and shit like that today when they're on like the space station and shit. How fucking boring was it in the 60s to orbit the planet? Or the 70s. You're literally sitting in something that's the size of like a fucking Volkswagen Rabbit with nothing to do. It's not like you got the internet. You're not sitting there surfing fucking videos or anything like that. You have nobody. You barely have anybody to talk to, and you're just floating around like.
Hope this motherfucker goes back down at some point.
Yeah, like how amazing was it? It was so amazing for the first hour and a half.
Then I was bored as shit.
What'd you do after that? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I counted how many times I shit in my pants until I got to land again.
Yeah, but I would not want to. My response, if they came to me back in, the early 60s, late 50s, I guess, whatever. I was not alive, contrary to popular belief.
I wasn't even going to go there. I'm just continuing to spitball with these.
They came to me and said, "Hey, we got this plan. We're going to light a big ass explosion underneath you and hurl you into space." I'm going to be okay. I ain't going first though. I want to let somebody else go first.
Who the fuck? Who is? That's what I'm saying. Like, what were these conversations like? Like they made and they made these astronauts out to be like these heroes and shit. And I'm not saying that they're not, but like I want to know like all the the television conferences and shit like that. You see all that. I want the behind the scenes. I want the transcripts of like just sitting in NASA headquarters in 1967 or whatever, whenever they really started planning this shit. And they're like, all right, so what's the protocol for this? Fucking nothing. Okay, what's the protocol for if we take any damage from the outside of the hull of the spacecraft? All right, first off, you're using spacecraft pretty generously here. Second, also fucking nothing. Okay, what's the safety protocol if there's a breach of pressure within the cabin? Listen, man, you're asking me questions. You're expecting answers. We don't fucking have any. That's why we're here. This is what you're here to do. You're going to go fucking die so the next guys can die a little better. That's how this works.
But heroes or not, brave-ass sons of bitches.
Oh, huge balls.
I mean, my balls, I got big balls.
But
not that big.
Like AC/DC in the early 80s levels, I've got big balls. Like, they're the biggest balls, like dinosaur-sized balls. And even though dinosaurs, you never know how big their balls were because, again, we've talked about this before, still blows my mind. Never thought of the fact that dinosaurs had cloacas.
Huh?
Like birds and alligators. It still blows my mind to think about it.
Oh, yeah.
You're always like, you never see a dick on a dinosaur. No, they're reptiles. They have cloacas. They have a hole, and you have to, have you ever seen somebody sex an alligator? You have to reach, or anything like that. You have to reach into the cloaca to find the genitalia. It's all internal, and then it boop, when it's timed up. Wow,
nice. And they
But go ahead.
I don't even know what you brought this podcast to a screeching halt.
You're goddamn welcome. But no, I was just talking about this last night. I forget what brought it up, but I was talking to Better Half, I think it was last night, about somehow evolution came up. And she was like, it was something about humanity. Like, oh, I was talking about the pyramids and the Sphinx. That's
Right.
what it was.
Okay.
And I was talking about how like greater distance between us being like today and Cleopatra than between Cleopatra and the building of the pyramids and all that
We're
shit.
Closer. Cleopatra was closer to us than she was to the.
Well, and it led her to talk about like, she was like, oh yeah, well, like how long have we been around? How many, like, wasn't there other humans? I was like, there's other humanoids. Like there's been Homo erectus and fucking Neanderthal man and Cro-Magnon man and a bunch of other ones that have been discovered in the last like 100 years.
Bigfoot.
Gigantopithecus. But like it, because she's not one to like dive into shit like this. So I enjoy just blowing people's minds with the shit where you just think about the fact that it's like, all right, give or take 100,000 years, we've been a species, been legitimately
That modern science is telling us as of right now, which it's changing daily.
It is, but like I don't think that as of where everything sits right now, I don't think that that's horribly far off. In the grand scope of like how long of time periods we're talking about, because we're thinking like, because I was talking to her about it, I was like, so think about the fact that like 100,000 years is realistically like we can numerically put a value on that, but we can't like you can't fathom 100,000 years of a light like of being alive because it doesn't exist. That's what over 1,000 lifetimes,
Right.
and then you think about the fact that. Like we think we're the shit. She was like, yeah, and then I started talking about like the Earth's like arguably like 4.8 billion years old,
Something
as of we think now.
I thought the universe
And
was
then
4.7, but
no, the universe I think was like 7 or 11 billion.
I thought it was 4.7. Then they recently just
That's being rewritten now
upped
too.
it to like 17, 18 or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't fuck, who knows.
But like she was like, I told her that, and she was like, and we think that we're so great. I'm like, no, we're not shit. Like even if we've been around for 400,000 years, 4 times give or take longer than people think, that's fucking nothing. Like that's crazy long when you think about it. But the dinosaurs were around for 265 million years. They ain't fucking here no more. They done fucked off onto the moon apparently.
Apparently, and Mars.
Yeah, there's just little fucking those little motherfuckers that were running around eating that little girl on the beach in Jurassic Park 2, just strolling around fucking craters. Just,
You know, well, we've had these intellectual discussions, and between us, it's not very intellectual.
yeah.
But you know, I'm a firm believer. I seriously doubt everything academia has told us about our past.
Oh, 100%.
Because it is changing. We do the timeline is much longer than what the books, the experts tell us it is. It's being proven. There's sites being built every day, or exposed or found every day that's throwing at things further and further back. Just like we talked about, the Sphinx is much older than the pyramids. It's much older than what they want to say they say it is. What?
I was like, what the fuck is that big ass dog? He was getting off the couch because he was like this. I was like, what's going on in there? Is he a goddamn werewolf?
Probably.
Well, because this has been a subject of very much interest for both of us, but in the last like 6 months, I've dove pretty deep into it to the point that like the biggest one is I don't understand why it's such a big fucking deal that they're throwing out that there might be more to just specifically speaking the Egyptian time period, because like you have Egyptologists like just shunning people, even though these people are not even really necessarily saying that they're entirely wrong. They're just saying that like we think there's basically another like era or kingdom or
civilization. Advanced technology.
They're basically saying that there's just an epoch of time within the, just in this scenario, the Egyptian culture that they're just not picking up on.
Right.
the Younger Dryas. Throw that. That has something to do with it. And then you have fuck asses like Zahi Hawass just like shitting on everybody, and like he's trying to shit on all these people that have all these theories and are trying to prove the theories, but he won't fucking talk to them.
Right.
He won't have anything to do it, even though, let's be real, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Egyptologists, you're cool and all, and I respect your point of view and your professionalism, or some professionalism, depending on who we're talking about, and your ability to do things. But for a lot of them are glorified fucking art majors.
That is true. But we have this is my problem with archaeologists and all these people.
Archaeology is the worst, and I find, and it really, not to interrupt you, but it really pisses me off because we both know I find archaeology and paleontology so fucking interesting, but archaeologists are some of the worst scientists when it comes to changing how anything is.
You have to have an open mind to realize we can't look at a fossil and know, or look at a dig site. We can make rational, educated guesses, but it's not written in stone at that point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we misinterpreted some shit.
Well, like
you have to keep an open mind that, just like the Sphinx, we know the Sphinx there's evidence that the Sphinx is much, much, much older than what they thought it was. It has been reworked. It was done at a time when Egypt was not a desert. It was wet.
I was literally just about to say that. There's quite obviously, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not saying that I am, but I find this stuff interesting, and I look into it, and I do look into people's research and, do my own fucking digging. There is quite clearly water erosion on the stone that the Sphinx is made up on. And it is quite clear that the face of the Sphinx is not the original fucking face.
It was reworked.
Yes.
And we know there has been how many devastating impacts or life-altering events in our history that we know of.
Yeah.
And even, asteroid impacts, super volcano eruptions. How many times has life restarted?
Because we're right in the middle of the time period when fucking Yellowstone should be just going off.
Yeah. Kevin Costner's going to fry us all.
Yeah, we're like in the middle of that 200,000 year grace period.
But, it is, in my mind, very possible. We all have heard the story of Atlantis.
Don't get me started.
Maybe it's not what we think it is. Maybe it's just life was there was intelligent, very advanced life. Another crater or another impact wiped out civilization again, or almost wiped out civilization. And then we just rebooted. Just keep it's a reboot.
Well, and everybody, and then there's the fucking Bible thumper side of it. It's like the Bible. A lot of the shit in the Bible corresponds with a lot of shit from everything. Like you talk about the Great Flood. Like that wasn't the fucking work of God. Like that was a catastrophe. That is kind of. I mean, the dates obviously get skewed because not everybody had their chisel out and they're like 3rd of August. 1412 BC, because obviously 1412 BC wasn't a fucking thing at the time. But there's stories of great floods in almost every long-lasting culture that's ever been or is still a thing.
Right.
It's
every religion in every culture. There's a flood story.
That's what I'm saying. And do you think, are we all just regurgitating the same bullshit? Nah, it probably links up in some way. The only problem is the timing.
Right.
I mean, and then the Sphinx, they won't let, just the Sphinx, they won't let them look into a lot of shit that could prove one thing or the other. There's quite clearly a chamber beneath the, front feet of a Sphinx. They won't let anybody go in there. It's pretty well known. There's another chamber under the Sphinx that I think they have gone into, but they're like, no. But they won't let anybody. They won't even let anybody put a fucking a camera probe down into that other chamber, or the fact that they're it's kind of coming out where very possible that the parts of the like the pyramids as we know them now, that's probably not the OG pyramid. There's now coming out saying that they're pretty sure that there was another layer outside of that.
The Great Pyramid was built on a base of another pyramid. Well,
it's just, the pyramid at Cholula in Mexico is a perfect example. It's the biggest pyramid in the world. Mm-hmm. It's fucking massive, and they're pretty sure just by how they've explored it and shit like that it's like it started as one thing and they just kept building out from it. It's like, I forget what they said. I think they said it's like the square footage of like 300 football fields or something like that. It's fucking huge. Like I never would have guessed or known that the biggest pyramid in the world that we know of is in fucking Mexico.
Here's my problem with the pyramids in Egypt.
You can't go.
Well,
like, and if you try to even touch it, you fucking get arrested.
It's a burial chamber for the pharaoh. Yet they've never found a mummy inside one of them.
Never once.
And if it was, fine if it was, then what's the purpose of the Valley of the Kings, where they're all buried?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay to say, we don't know what the fuck these things are, what they use them for. Maybe it was just, it's like kids with the Lego sets at Christmas. Every year they got a new Lego set, and they started building shit.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be some...
And also, let's fucking stop just shitting on older cultures and saying that they were incapable of doing things all the time, because I don't think they were.
I think they were much more advanced than what we give them credit for.
Or was there a species of giants?
Maybe. I firmly believe that we look at our ancestors
as fucking dumb. We think that we're the bee's knees.
They were probably more advanced than what we give them credit, just because we haven't found the laser fucking cutter.
Go ahead.
But some of these sites are done so precise, you're just not going to do that with a stone and a chisel. You have to have working tools and maybe something a little bit more computer-esque.
Perfect example. Look at the lack of technology, if you will, and knowledge of things and just execution of stuff that we take for granted from the time that the Roman Empire fell until basically like the early dark ages of Europe. Like the Roman Empire was way more technologically advanced than anything in Europe for a solid almost 1,000 years.
So there's ebbs and flow in not the use of knowledge.
Yeah.
It goes and comes.
Yeah.
Right. And just think about technology. In my lifetime, I'm old as fuck.
Fair enough.
In my 50...
Oh, yeah, you're going to be 51 this year.
My 50 years. I was born in the 70s. I've seen it all.
And you haven't seen shit at the same time. Like you look at somebody my age and you're like, you don't even know. And then the world looks at all of us and is like, you're fucking dumb.
Right. It's just... I remember when, things were much... You had 3 channels. I remember before cable.
Back when TVs went...
Yes, before remotes. Before cell phones. Before the internet.
Before color TV. Well, I guess color TV was a thing when you were a kid.
I was a little bit...
You might not have had one, but it was a thing.
It was a thing. But, technology advances so fast. And it seems like we are advancing. It's getting greater. The time frame is shrinking and shrinking. We are advancing much quicker. But which people say, well, that's getting to kind of the topic, the alien, reverse engineering alien technology. No, it's just because the more advanced you get, it's like a domino, a wave. Once that wave starts, it starts building. and it moves faster and goes bigger the closer it gets to, like a tsunami. A tsunami isn't a fucking 100-foot wall of water out in the middle of the ocean when it happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't start growing until it gets closer to land, and the depth gets shallower. It builds. Same way with technology. You know, the further it goes, the more advanced we get, the faster things start coming around. Just think in the last 30 years, or 30, 35 years, we are some of the greatest technology has been created.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just happening more rapid.
Well, I mean, it's like
pace.
It's like I don't know why I just thought of this, but I did just think of this, and I'm going to say it now because that's what I do here.
Spew it.
Think of not just technology, but think of knowledge and like intellectual growth as a house.
Okay.
You have a house, right?
You have a house.
Traditionally, there is one or two ways into the house. There are one or two doorways.
Front door or the back door?
Yes.
I like the back door.
I bet you do. So you have the front door and the back door. That's your access into the house.
Right.
Give or take. Minus garages. We're not getting into fucking semantics on this. This is a fucking a analogy. Once you're in the house, there are many more doors that lead to many more places.
Right.
You walk in the front door of a house. Okay, so if you walk in the front door, you don't even know there's a back door. So now you walk in the front door, you can exit the back door, then you realize you can come in the back door. Ah, pun intended. There's the door to the bathroom. That's a whole new room. There's the door to the basement. There might be a door in the basement that goes into another room. There's a door into the bedroom. The bedroom might have access to the fucking attic. You walk in one door and you have fucking 15 different options that are automatically just dropped on your fucking plate that you can go with. So you have satellite technology, you have communication, you have fucking broadcasting, you have fucking spying, which I mean is also communication, but like as soon as you have that one thing, fucking 30 things pop up.
Right.
That's not a new fucking thing.
Right.
Somebody hit a rock with another fucking rock and a piece of the fucking rock broke off of the fucking rock and then they went, I can turn rocks into shit. Guess this old shitty fucking thatched ceiling house ain't gonna do no more. Hey, Ulmec, bring me them goddamn rocks over there. We're making a new house.
Right.
And then next thing you know, we got fire and wheels and fucking people are cooking food and then, you know, the Anunnaki are running around in Atlantis riding fucking propulsionless vehicles through the air and aliens are banging monkeys in the woods and then next thing you know, we got us.
Getting back to what how we got off on this tangent, I don't know.
You're welcome.
The press conference after the moon landing.
Are we getting into fucking aliens? Here we go. Now we're getting into the fucking meat and potatoes.
Armstrongs and Aldrins and Collinses.
What is this, the fucking Lord of the Rings when he was like, oh, the Beckons is...
Use their demeanor and how they acted as proof they were lying they didn't go to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
What if... We all know, we've all heard the...
God, that energy drink has me jittery as fuck.
We've all heard the audio of before they switched, you know, how there's that private channel that NASA uses.
Yeah.
We all heard they're watching us statement. So it's very possible they found something. That behavior they were experiencing or showing during that press conference because we can't actually talk about what we saw up there. Mm-hmm. It's not that we didn't go. We have to. We can't talk about what we saw. If people knew what we fucking saw, all hell would break loose.
Uh-huh.
That's just as plausible in my mind as we did not go to. It was all faked.
Or I mean, it could be that one clip could be fucking anything. Like
right.
they literally somebody could have just fucking clipped that out to make it more interesting because you didn't hear like, there's fucking nothing up here, Buzz. Make it look interesting, boys. The whole world, they're watching us. Like you can literally just clip that. It makes it way more interesting. And that could be it. They could have just been like, let's just go bounce around and then go fuck off home.
All right.
I need a hot dog.
All right. We'll cover the U.S. hearing here in a minute. Let's get to the where the fuck.
Oh, your notes are a little out of order, huh?
Well, I was going to start with the hearing, but we've rambled on. So the Ariel
Led
School,
Zeppelin, bitches.
the Ariel School UFO incident. September 16th, 1994, several UFOs allegedly hovered near a school in Ruwa, or how do you say that?
Ruwa.
Zimbabwe.
Sure.
Around approximately 62 students that ranged between 6 and 12 years old said they saw one or more silver craft like disc, your typical flying saucer, descend from the sky and land in a field near the school. Now, the kids were outside playing at recess, as all kids do, when the aliens visited them and made their appearance. Because the aliens were basically, the aliens got out of the craft, according to witnesses.
Is this District 9?
Yes. Basically, okay, here's how it's going to go. Several aliens emerged from the crafts. Craft or crafts. Who the hell's calling me? I'm busy, people.
I knew I heard a great vibration from below.
They were dressed in all black spacesuits. I don't know exactly what kind of interactions there were, but the entire incident lasted approximately 15 minutes. Just kind of give you a summary. The kids went back into the inside and told teachers what they saw. Naturally, the teachers dismissed them as having overactive imaginations, which I can kind of see it. But here's my problem. What kind of laws we have in Africa? There's no teacher supervision during recess. Couldn't one of these kids get taken by... It's Africa. Couldn't they
just fucking lion just rolls by like, yeah, mine.
I mean, nobody's watching these kids?
Recess for the kids, lunch for the animals.
Yes. Fuck no, we ain't going out there. There's lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, my.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you just leave these kids to their own devices in the middle of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Some dude's fucking, like, the principal just comes around and he's like, has anybody checked on the children? Please, go, please check on the children. They have been unsupervised for too long. And they go outside and, what's going on? Some of them are riding a giraffe, and one has been eaten by the hyenas.
Okay.
You're just like, that. Some guy's just in the background like, it's better than last week. We lost 2 to the hyenas last. Fuck it. Chalk it up.
Win's a win. So the teachers didn't necessarily believe them. Thought they were just, kids will make up stories. Which
Yeah.
I get.
Which I think is an unfortunate, like, outcome of a lot of shit.
And problem with this story, I will say. After school, several of the kids told their parents what they saw. Several parents the next day went to the school. The sighting was reported on ZBC radio.
You think that's the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Company?
I think so. I'm going to go out on a limb.
How original.
The BBC correspondent in Zimbabwe, Tim Leach, visited the school on the 19th of September.
There's a lot of BBC presence in Africa. It's a cock joke.
We got it.
Fuck yeah.
I believe our audience got it. Cause
we're fucking back.
Leach, he interviewed these kids. He filmed the interviews. Leach stated, I could handle war zones, but I could not handle this.
What?
These kids telling the story of alien coming down and visiting them.
What did the fucking aliens do?
I don't know.
I can handle war zones, but I can't handle what the fuck happened? Is there more? Please tell me there's more details as to why this dude who could handle going out as a war correspondent couldn't handle kids talking about aliens getting out of a fucking ship.
The knowledge of E.T. being real blew his mind, in my opinion.
So you can watch people you can get shot at and watch people get blown up, but you can't hear about fucking E.T. walking around, taking a little stroll, having a piss behind a baobab tree and fucking taking off again.
Right. Now there's
what the fuck? You were rolling around. I'm assuming this guy's like, I can't do this, Jim. There's too much. I know I had no problem taking that fucking IED to the bottom of that 94 Previa back in the old Afghanistan, but this shit is too fucking far. I'm going to go investigate Princess Diana now.
Another correspondent, Cynthia Hind, visited the school on the 20th. So this was making the rounds. This was a big deal back in 1994.
What was the date of the actual event?
September 16th.
Oh, so this is all within a week.
Yes.
Okay.
And she interviewed the kids and had the kids draw pictures of what they encountered. She stated the kids told a very similar story.
That makes it fucking like when a bunch of kids are lined up with the story,
Well,
that makes it fucking interesting.
Yeah. That November, Harvard University professor John Mack visited the school to interview the witnesses.
John Mack.
Throughout the 90s, Mack investigated UFO sightings and had a particular interest in the alien abduction phenomenon. According to the interviews of Hen, Leach, and Mack, the witnesses...
It sounds like a shitty, cheap law firm downtown.
Or a really horrible 60s band. Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
The new hit from Hen, Leach, and Mack.
According to them, the witnesses had seen at least one UFO. Some kids stated that they saw nothing. Of the 62, not all 62 were in agreement.
Yeah, because some of them were riding a giraffe and getting eaten by fucking hyenas.
They were busy watching their ass.
Chasing black mambas around and shit.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kobe.
Details of the sightings were quite consistent, however. One or more silver objects appeared in the sky, usually described as a disc, typical flying saucer. They floated down to a field of brush and small trees just outside the school's property. Between 1 and 4 creatures with big eyes and no mouths. So obviously, UFO aliens don't do blowjobs.
So it's like I don't even know. I don't even know what kind of creature to
related to, yeah,
to equate this to.
But basically, these creatures had big eyes, no mouth. You think grays, but grays generally have a smaller mouth.
Yeah.
But they got out of the UFO. They began to approach the kids. Several of the kids ran back into school naturally, but some of the older kids did stay.
Please tell me they started like throwing rocks at them.
Probably.
I mean, realistically,
they started bullying the aliens.
Didn't that happen in like Brazil? I'm pretty sure there was like a UFO that touched down in somewhere in like Brazil or South America, and the kids started fucking throwing rocks at the aliens.
Yeah. Here in Hamilton, and they'd start shooting at it.
Oh no, you want to talk about Hamilton, dude? So when we came home last night, it was 3:00 in the morning.
I was fast asleep.
Yes. First off, when we parked, I heard this god awful noise when I opened the car door, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I see headlights turning onto the street behind where we park, and I don't know if this car had an accident or what, but there was a car like dragging what I would assume is a pretty necessary part of the vehicle underneath it, and just turned down one of the alleyways, and I was like, that guy definitely either hit a human. There's definitely a hit and run situation going on here. And I've also noticed that, I don't know if you've seen it at night, but there is I believe, Hispanic family that lives on this street that, I take to get to where I park on the side of the house, that is living their fucking best life, because they are outside almost every night till God knows how late, and they have straight up bonfires in an old grill.
Closer to Grand?
Yeah.
Oh, that house, I tried to get that house.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers beat me by like a week.
Sons of bitches.
That's a nice house.
They literally have bonfires in an old fucking like scissor-legged grill.
I know. Motherfuckers.
Like full on fires. I'm like, I have a feeling that is not what that grill was made for, and something tells me that it is slightly unsafe.
You think?
And literally till like all hours of the night, I'm like, don't you fucking like? Do you not have somewhere to be in the morning? Like, are we just living it up before the kids go back to escuela?
All right, where were we at?
I'm sorry, I was looking up pictures that these kids drew.
If I was more professional, more prepared, I would have had these for our listeners and viewers. Let me see. Well, that has a mouth.
I don't think that's from the... It says it's from the aerial school aliens. That's too good, though. That's no little kid drew that shit. Huh.
Anyway.
Whoa, that's fucking racist.
Wow.
This picture, the picture's fine. Like the picture the kid drew is fine, but why the fuck does the one kid look like dressed like Steve Irwin, and the little black African kid is like dressed like Richard Pryor mixed with Steve Irwin? He's got like the Steve Irwin shirt, and then he's got like the Michael Jackson Thriller outfit without all the zippers. What the fuck?
Oh, fuck. All right.
This is terrible. Fuck, do better.
Anyway, where was I at? In Mac's interview, one of the fifth graders tells him that he was warned basically, here's what the quote was about something that is going to happen, and that pollution mustn't be.
The kid,
Like, this is
the
what
kid was told this by
the aliens. Now,
Okay.
it's important to note these aliens. These children told them that these aliens communicated telepathically.
Huh.
An 11-year-old girl told Mac, "I think they wanted people to know that we're making harm on this world, and we mustn't get too." It's not even a word, but hey, it's a black child in Africa with limited education.
A child anywhere.
I don't even know how to technologied. Not a word, but that's okay.
I mean, they tried. It's a fucking 5th grader.
So one child stated that, or was told that the world would end because that we are not taking care of the planet. So basically, they were Greta Thunberg before Greta Thunberg.
And
Did she come out of this school?
I also have questions because once again, we all know where I stand on this. Not true.
What?
We're gonna fucking die because we're fucking
right.
up the world. The world's gonna go ha 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 ha. What's next? What am I gonna fucking what fucking tadpole am I gonna turn into the next shitty thing that fucks everything up?
It's not save the planet.
It's save the world as we know it.
It's save our ass.
It's save the whales because I like to look at them.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want whales to die, but like that's pretty much what it is. Like the only reason you fucking care is because you think they're pretty.
Because I hate to be the one to tell people, the Earth has been much warmer with a lot more CO2.
Yeah, genetically clone a fuckload of different species of animals that have been on this planet and see how long we're around.
Right.
Bring back velociraptors and fucking like Smilodon.
Smilodon.
It's the
smiles a lot.
I mean, to an extent, it's like the what would be like the most popular or most known species of like a saber-toothed cat.
Oh.
Yeah, bring them motherfuckers back. See how long we're fucking walking around just willy-nilly down the streets of Beverly Hills. It ain't happening. Old fucking Smiles a lot's coming around, and he's like, he's going straight fucking. Who was it? Who was the guy? What was that? What was the one guy that voiced the fucking saber-toothed cat from Ice Age?
I don't know.
The guy from Rescue Me.
Oh, Dennis Leary.
Yes. There's going to be a bunch of fucking Dennis Learys rolling around. Like, I'm not supposed to eat you, but I'm fucking gonna.
It's like these let's just think about this rationally for a second. Let's just say, okay, yes, aliens are real. They are coming, visiting us. And this incident is 100% accurate.
Okay.
Their technology is so advanced. And the more advanced they are, there's more pollution. They're not going to give a flying fuck about these slingshot 1972 Jeep driving people. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
They're so technologically advanced. They've got me all fucked up.
They're so technologied.
It's just like nuclear power, or nuclear weapons and nuclear reactors, or nuclear plants.
Yeah,
they're so fascinated with that because we're destroying that nuclear technology for an alien that has the capability of coming to us, traveling all thousands of light years, millions of light years, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this before. A nuclear reactor is basically what they give their kids.
It's like a battery.
Their kids a science project for Christmas. You know, those old science kits?
Yeah.
That is like cannon technology. Not even cannon, slingshot technology compared to what they have.
Yeah, like we're terrified because we'll get fucked up by the water at the bottom of the reactor in Chernobyl, and they're just like, swimming pool.
Right. So they're not fascinated with because we're going to destroy the Earth. No. That's our own fears being projected in an event.
Well, the only argument for that is like Because nuclear power is the only potential thing, realistically, in my mind, that would be maybe scary that we have to an alien species.
See, I don't think it would be.
But it could be. That would be the one thing.
I,
If they like somehow.
Didn't you see Independence Day? They fired a nuke at that thing, and it bounced off of like a.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, if they somehow advanced with a whole different technological basis, and they never even went down the route of or never needed to go down the route of nuclear fission or fusion, that's the only thing that could potentially they'd be like, that's a big boom boom.
I would assume for them to open up a wormhole, the amount of energy needed to open up a wormhole and come through it, because that is, let's be honest, that is the only way you're traveling around the universe. Your warp speed and light speed ain't working.
As far as we know.
The energy needed to do that is so much greater than a fission or fusion. What is it? Fusion? Nuclear fusion, right? Is it breaking down of atoms or what?
Fission.
Is it fission?
Fusion fuses.
That's right. Okay, fission.
Fission is splitting atoms.
Right. It is so much more than that. They have to be. Whatever they're doing is 1,000 times more dangerous than what we're doing, because it's so much more energy needed.
Like, we're thinking this far into it all. Like, there's just a bunch of alien species rolling around. Like you're thinking too far into it, stupid. We just got a fucking sun under the hood. We just go around and we collect suns, and that's how we do it.
Well,
I got a 454 fucking red dwarf under the hood of this goddamn thing. I'll be smoking motherfuckers.
But anyway, I just think it's.
I did the parcel run in 12
always,
parsecs.
These encounters, we always put it to, we're damning this planet to death. No, we're not. We're damning ourselves to death.
We're not. I mean, we're not like. We might not be helping things, but most of the other shit's gonna be all right. We are gonna be fucked.
Right.
We've said this countless times on this podcast. Like, that's just what it is.
Right.
And that's okay. The only problem is, again, said it countless times on this podcast, we're just vain enough as a species to think that we deserve to be around forever.
Now, this incident quickly became one of the most famous UFO cases in Africa.
It's the only UFO case I've ever heard of out of Africa, I'm not going to lie.
I don't think the bar is set very high.
Yeah, except for District 9, the shitty movie, where the guy did, I don't know if he was actually South African, but he did a very good job with that South African. The South African accent is really weird.
Better than Lethal Weapon 2?
There's short films made by toddlers that are better than Lethal Weapon 2.
All right. On July 21st, I'm sorry, July, what did I even say? In June of 2021, an episode of the BBC Witness History covered this event and described it as one of the most significant UFO cases in history.
Okay.
Broad daylight.
Multiple corroborating stories from kids, which a lot of people would, like, a lot of people are going to be like, well, they're fucking kids. They have wild imaginations. But for all of them to link up is pretty fucking nuts.
Right. And for one of them not to say, this is bullshit. We're just making it up. Somebody would have cracked.
I want to know, do small African children tell stories as shittily as small American children?
Probably not. We are a special kind of shit.
They're like, we were playing with the giraffe slide and Ndukwe got eaten by the hyenas, but that's okay. He ate my pudding and I don't like him. And then a bird and then the alien man, he comes down and he said the trash is bad and I don't like trash, but my parents make a lot of trash and my mom has a friend that comes over when dad's at work and his name's Larry, and Larry's about the same height as the alien man. Like, one of those just run-on fucking sentences of a story
that combines 15 different stories all at once.
It's horrible and also delightful at the same time. I'm just like, you're watching it and you're like, M. Night Shyamalan can suck a dick. He doesn't have as many twists in all his movies as fucking little Jeffrey just had in this one story about how he dropped his ice cream at lunch today.
Oh, speaking of Jeffrey, at work,
What the fuck? We did a Jeffrey.
They hired a guy at work
Named Jeffrey?
No, but he looks just like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Nice.
Glasses and all.
Nice.
I'm a little worried.
We had a kid working that program that we do at work, working with, I don't know the political term for it. Special needs kids.
Yeah,
we'll go with that.
The most politically.
I honestly don't know. I love the program. It's great. I get a lot of I get a lot of good feel good from working with these young individuals and helping them learn.
See, what's weird about that program? It's not even that. You have those, and then you have just troubled, really, right?
No,
or not. Just not.
There's tiers within the system, within the program. There's different tiers and
people who struggle a little bit more.
Higher functioning is basically what it is. Yeah, it's just different levels of functioning. I guess disabilities would be the term.
I'm mentally disabled.
But dude, this last group we had, there was a kid. Literally, I looked at the other manager and I was like, did you notice fucking malnourished Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, he wasn't malnourished. He was just really small really skinny kid. And he had the glasses and everything. I was like, dude, you'll know. Like, he was like, no, I haven't been out there. I was like, you'll know.
You know.
When you know, you know.
Now, skeptics.
Good kid. Good kid. Funny kid.
Now, skeptics have torn this apart. Some have suggested that the incident could be explained as mass hysteria, which I don't. Yes and no. Even if with mass hysteria, things don't line up. There was enough difference in their stories to make it realistic. Because if everybody's telling the exact same story, they rehearsed it and it's a lie. There has to be subtle differences. But people tell stories differently.
That's true. But it's the fact that it's kids.
Right.
Because on a lot of times, kids are brutally honest by nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, good, bad, or ugly. They're going to be like, Mom's fatter this year than she was last year, and I can run faster because I bought fucking shoes at Dick's Sporting Goods. And that's just how it is. Fuck you, Karen. Give me my goddamn homework. I'm going home.
Others have said a prank, which kids haven't. To get 62 kids to go along with a prank,
that's a lot.
That's a lot. And
especially kids within that age, like in that age group. Because you got to think 11, 12 is probably the high end of that.
Right. And here, 29 years later, somebody would have said, we got you, motherfucker.
Hold your horses, fuck ass.
We fucked you guys.
Pardon my French.
Hard on that one. And even some people have said confusion with a touring puppet show designed to promote awareness about AIDS. How can you?
What the fuck? No. Who fucking came up with that? Okay, this makes me believe that this is true and the government knows that this is true because fuck you. What asshole was sitting around and they're like, I don't know about you, but maybe all these kids have corroborating stories about an alien landing and talking to them, but also AIDS puppets. I'm just throwing it out there.
We're just spitballing here.
These 62 kids could have all just been so fucking stupid that they're talking about aliens when in fact it was a guy with his hand shoved up the ass end of a fucking tube sock talking about don't have unprotected anal sex because you might get AIDS and die. Equals aliens.
I mean, AIDS, alien. I mean, there's an A in both of them. And
what kind of fucking shitty Chris Angel sleight of hand bullshit were they trying to pull, throwing out the fucking AIDS puppet excuse for this? Eat a fat sack of fucking dicks like that.
Hyena dicks.
I know that people don't seem to think that I cuss too much, especially the ones that think that I cuss too much for the purpose of this show. I don't. actually very often I actually try to stop and tone myself down, but I'm going to cuss all I want on this
Cuss,
one.
let her rip.
What the fuck are you talking about? What is it? Are we going to start sprinkling? Is there an ergot fucking thing going on here too? Are all these kids fucking high and they just don't know it? That you're literally going to go, okay, so there could be a couple things. There could be, everybody's just a little crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on in Zimbabwe in the 90s. I don't know if there was or not, but traditionally there's a lot of fucked up shit going on in Africa. Maybe these kids are scarred forever and they have horrible PTSD, like they just like watch their parents' eyeballs get plucked out by vultures and then
by warlords.
Yeah, and then had their hearts got eaten because that happens. But who the fuck came? Like, I want to meet the man that came out of left field with the fucking AIDS puppet show excuse.
I want to see the.
I want to see the AIDS puppets that you're confusing with these fucking aliens. These are some well-made puppets,
right?
These aren't. Jim Henson can suck a dick if these things were. If these aliens were AIDS puppets.
I agree.
They're puppets, but they don't need any fucking people running them. Where were the people that were handling the puppets? Shisha. Magic, bitch. No, what the fuck? No, like these weren't fucking AIDS puppet, dickhead. Fuck you, Gerald, or whoever came up with that idea. Oh, like I'm offended for these kids.
As you should be.
I find this AIDS puppet excuse fucking asinine.
I agree.
To the umpteenth power. Ugh. That's like if I were to fucking be on the news and be like, I 100%, and I took a polygraph, which doesn't matter anyway because they're inadmissible in court now, but like 100% without a doubt, other people saw it and they can back me up. I saw a 463-foot tall red dog named Clifford walk down the street, and some asshole from NBC's like, we have spoken to some professionals in the world of cryptozoology and archaeology, and they are 99% sure that they did in fact not see the 437-foot tall dog named Clifford.
Don't fuck with Clifford.
It was in fact a fucking, I don't know, it was a gas leak which made them hallucinate, and what they were really seeing was a common raccoon.
I don't know.
You know what's happening to that guy if I'm in that scenario? You're getting punched in the fucking taint. Because you're wrong. Also, like, these aliens that landed on a ship and walked off of it and telepathically spoke to these children
About global warming.
Fucking puppets to spread the news about fucking AIDS. I'm flabbergasted by this one. I was not. I've heard. I knew a little bit about this whole story, but I never knew about the AIDS puppets thing.
Fucking hilarious.
Like, no, fuck you. The kids never said anything about the closer from the Muppets coming in. Like, we're not talking about emaciated Miss Piggy rolling around with like burying fucking Kermit the Frog. Because he was a good man, but he's dead now because we had unprotected anal sex. Wah, 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 wah. Fucking waka, waka, waka. Or, infected caca, caca, caca.
Oh, fuck, I love my job.
I've been sent off the deep end by this fucking AIDS
All right,
puppet thing.
Let's rein it in. Let's talk about this congressional hearing of UAPs.
I hope nobody's kids are watching this.
I hope not. Now, apparently, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? There was a congressional hearing. I think this is very fascinating. I think this might be one of the most important events when it comes to disclosure, if I'm being honest. I liked who they had. I was familiar with two of the three. They had three.
Was one of them the guy from, please tell me it was the astrophysicist from
No.
Skinwalker Ranch?
No. Dragon was not there either.
That'd be even better. They'd be like, we don't have the scientist from Skinwalker Ranch, but we got the asshole with the guns.
They did have...
Tune in next week to see what he has to say.
I'll get to who they did have. I forget his name. What was his name? Oh, where is it? Obviously. David Grush. Is that what you say? That Grush?
Grush Light.
Grush, who is a former military intelligence officer, said during these hearings that we have been kept in the dark about UFOs and UAPs. David Koresh, Ryan Graves, a former Navy...
David Koresh?
David Grush.
Now we're real. We got AIDS puppets. We got cult leaders. We got fucking little kids getting eaten by recess animals.
Right, but...
It was a leopard.
Grush was there, who was the intelligence officer. Ryan Graves and David Fravor.
Graves. I know Ryan.
Ryan Graves and David Fravor are the former Navy pilots. Fravor is a Tic Tac.
Did Ryan Graves do Rogan?
Yes, right. Both of them did.
Oh, I think okay.
Graves.
I might have seen both. But.
Graves was a Navy pilot off the East Coast that I think the Go Fast.
Okay.
The Go Fast.
Yeah.
Footage
thing.
Yeah. So
which one of them, in fact, actually saw an AIDS puppet?
I don't know. Nobody. We're off the AIDS puppets. So
what if they just kept using that as an excuse, like forever? Every time somebody's like, fucking every time an alien thinks, well, nobody even mentioned the AIDS puppets. That we know what it is. We know what the aliens are. They're puppeteers talking about AIDS.
But what makes
it up.
What makes this hearing so interesting is basically every conspiracy story that you've seen on YouTube, heard us talk about, or you've listened on a podcast is basically starting to be confirmed. Now and when David Grush and
Dave Grohl,
Foo Fighters, another UAP.
He's going down the Tom DeLonge path.
Yeah. Congressional hearings are different than being on a podcast or doing an interview with CNN or Fox.
You don't say.
Because there is such a thing as you can't lie on these. That's called perjury, and they send your ass to jail for that.
And there's also not fat, lower middle class Asian American men saying fuck, shit, ass, and AIDS puppets 16 times in a minute.
So these are fairly serious. They don't recommend you lie to these people. You are under oath. And these three, especially unless you're Roger Clemens or...
Well, I also have my...
Or Fauci.
I also have my gripes with that. I don't see the legitimacy of the being under oath anyway.
But these are, and most importantly, these are on record. There's a record of this now.
Yeah. Well, we know my argument on that.
Right.
Like, there's a separation of church and state, but you're on oath with your hand on the Bible.
Well, semantics.
We're crossing streams, but go on.
Now with Graves and Fravor, I hold their opinion or their testimony to a higher standard. These are naval aviators. They're trained observers. They don't get rattled. They saw something they did not understand. They saw something they couldn't identify. Now, they know the difference between
AIDS puppets and aliens.
What is capable, what the modern, or what technology is
They
available.
know what's normal and what's abnormal.
Right. So their testimony holds much more weight. I'm putting much more weight behind what they say than just some
Some fucking
redneck drinking moonshine sitting on the back of a tractor in Indiana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to believe them a little bit more that they saw something out of this, what they seem to be out of this
Yeah,
world.
you're going to take a guy who's like behind the wheel or the joystick of a $15 million airplane that does this shit on a daily basis over Jethro from fucking Johnson City. That's like, yeah, I got it butt probed me.
Yeah.
I was a little drunk. I might have ate some mushrooms and I picked off the cow shit in my own pasture. That is legal. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. What do you look like, Jethro? Honestly, if you want my God's honest opinion, he looks like fucking Steve Buscemi.
Ooh. Okay.
Look like Steve Buscemi with really long fingers. And next thing you know, right up the poop chute.
Now, I did a little research on Grush.
Daytime thing. We're gonna get sued now. Geddy Lee's coming for us.
David Grush is a decorated combat officer in the United States Air Force during the war in Afghanistan. I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably the first one. I didn't know. We've been there a few times.
I mean,
No. Afghanistan. No, I'm thinking of Iraq. I'm sorry, Iraq.
We're splitting hairs here. He's still
We've been to Iraq a few times.
dropping bombs on people.
We've invaded so many countries that I get confused easily. From 2019 to 2021, he was a representative of the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. That's a whole mouthful.
Yep, that.
From late 2021 to July of 22, he was a co-lead for UAP analysis at the NGA and its representative to the task force.
No, and now I have a whole nother reason why I can say that I'd never joined the military. How many of these guys do you think they're like, so what'd you do in the military? And they just go, no.
Now
I hung out. I'm not going through this list of 17 different 3-letter acronyms that I fucking dealt with. And I'm also not trying to say these words that still to this day, even though I professionally did it, I cannot pronounce.
Now, he also assisted in drafting the National Defense Authorization Act of 2023, which included provisions for reporting UFOs, including whistleblower protection and exemptions to non-disclosure orders and agreements.
So he's cool with Edward Snowden.
Yeah,
I mean, Edward Snowden wasn't an alien thing.
but whistleblower. Give them a little bit of protection.
Now, is the whistleblower protection within this, do you think that it's strictly in regards to UFOs or UAPs?
This comes... No, I think it's everything, but this comes up again in this hearing.
Hashtag bring home Snowden.
Right. Oh, I agree. Congressional interest...
Where is he? Is he in Russia?
I think he's still in Russia.
Is he?
Congressional interest in the UFO sightings immediately before Russia's public claims surrounded questions about the 4 objects that the Air Force shot down in February of 2023. So apparently we shot some shit down in February. Awesome.
Metal as fuck.
Weren't those the balloons, though? Was that February?
Oh, is that actually what they're referring to?
I think so, actually. It didn't really say.
It had to be. At least 1 or 2 of those had to be in reference to that.
I think there was several things. I think 2 of them.
I think that I know of 3, right? Weather balloons for sure.
There was 2 that I think that I remember, if I remember correctly, were not technically. They did not say balloons.
Weather apparatuses.
There was something different. We can go over that another day. But Grush has publicly claimed June 5th, 2023, independent journalists Leslie Klein and Ralph Blumenthal provided a story detailing Grush's claim of a UFO cover-up. This was written in the Debrief, a website that describes itself as a claim and claims that the U.S. federal government maintains a highly secretive UFO retrieval program and possesses multiple spacecrafts of non-human origin, as well as a corpse of a deceased pilot. It's self-funded and specializing in frontier science. So
frontier science.
Yeah, so a little iffy there. But
I like that term though.
Frontier science.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool term for real.
Grush claims that the U.S. federal government maintains a highly secretive UFO, like I just said, and possesses multiple spacecraft, as well as the deceased pilot. What was actually covered, or what he was questioned at, Grush said that he believes we have UFOs in our possession, as he has stated. Why this is so important is because this is on record. He is publicly stating on record that the U.S. government has in its possession flying objects, not of this world.
Mm-mm.
So, and with a man of his credentials, it's kind of wholesome. You're either the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, or you're psychotic. One of the 2. You're throwing away a lot.
Or what if somewhere in the world, deep in the fucking catacombs underneath the headquarters of what is now X,
but here's
Elon Musk is sitting there. He's like, I made that too.
Here's the kicker with him, and I would feel much better about this if what I'm about to say wasn't true. All of his testimony is based on interviewing 40 plus witnesses. He has not seen these crafts himself, but he has interviewed the military personnel that has, the eyewitnesses, civilians. So, could all these people be lying? I don't. That makes it very murky. That muddies the water.
I mean, I've also heard grapevine stories that that mermaids are real, and the U.S. military has specimens of them in holding tanks.
And Bigfoot.
Yeah, like that. What if it's like the U.S. government is actually like Hellboy?
Probably.
Like they're just having fucking paydays and coffee together. They're just like, "Hey, Bigfoot, pass the salt," and he's like, because it's actually Chewbacca.
One thing David Grush did mention in this hearing, which I liked, and we've talked about, I've mentioned this on this podcast several times. He did discuss the theory of some of these UFOs not coming from outer space. It's more of a dimensional thing coming from other dimensions, which, like, if you followed me and you and us for any amount of time, I said that is probably more plausible than, spacecraft coming from Alpha Centauri.
Name drop.
I read a little bit. Now, naturally, Ryan Graves and Fravor had their moments to explain what they saw. Now, Graves, like I said, was a go fast, and Graves and Fravor both, what they saw, the Tic Tac and the go fast, these, whatever they were, whether they were extraterrestrial or they were terrestrial, just advanced technology, defied physics as we know it. Like, especially like Fravor, the Tic Tac, dropped from 30,000 feet to feet above the ocean.
Is that the one that went into the ocean and
No.
came back out?
I think that was Graves.
Okay.
The Tic Tac did not go in there, but there was something in the ocean that bubbled up, that it was right above, like it was in communication with. But the Tic Tac in Fravor's situation dropped like 30,000 feet in seconds, and then disappeared off radar and showed back up at their cat point, which is their rendezvous spot, in seconds, which was like 60 miles away. So nothing we have travels that fast.
Yeah, especially like, and there wouldn't, and again, I'm no expert. I'm like an armchair expert on a lot of dumb shit. But just from my minuscule level of education, like there wouldn't, within human possibility, the facilities to possibly do that would have been noticeable.
Right.
Because in my mind, the only way we could, like I said, in my simple, stupid fucking mind, the only thing not even realistically, but theoretically, that my harebrained scheme of a thought process could come up with would be for something, an acceleration that fast would be some type of magnetic manipulation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the bullet trains and shit like that.
But still, it almost had to be almost like the wormhole, bending space-time in front of to move that fast.
Especially without catastrophic disaster happening within whatever that vessel is.
Let's talk about this for a minute. The Tic Tac, and I don't know exactly when Graves, I believe the Go Fast and all that took place, but I know the Tic Tac off the Nimitz in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California.
Yeah. That wasn't that far off the coast, was it?
No, it wasn't. No.
Yeah, it was like less than 30 miles, wasn't it?
I think so. Or very close. That happened in 2004. So what is that?
19 years ago?
20 years ago. Now, if you want to make the argument that it is technology, human technology, advanced technology.
And it was 20 years ago, and it still doesn't make sense today, 20 years later.
Right. Why whether you believe it was ours or the Russians, the Chinese, If they had that technology in 2024, say the Russians had it in 2004.
God damn.
If the Russians had this drone type technology in 2024, they wouldn't be struggling in Ukraine right now. What's the key to any battle?
Which I also don't understand why they're struggling so hard in the Ukraine.
That's true. But what is
I was thinking about that the other day. Like,
what-
they could easily just crush them.
what's the key to any war?
Money.
In an actual battle, it's air superiority. That is how that's the U.S. how that when they invaded Iraq, it was
Yeah,
basically
I mean the
they
only other argument would be seafaring weaponry, but that's very rare that
Right.
would be more important.
you want when we invaded Iraq, we bombed the shit
the
out,
fuck out of them.
and basically all the Army and Marines, all they did is marched. Once
What did we drop nukes from? Aeroplanes.
right, so you'd have if the Tic Tac is actually human built, human technology in the country that had this technology,
Whoever controls it should not have to worry about anything.
they would. Here we are, 19 years later. We would be under a one world government.
Because whoever has that technology, they'd be like, "Oh, you're talking shit? Guess what? I'm about to hang up, and before I hang up, you're fucked."
Right. So I don't really necessarily buy because if it was our technology, we'd fucking use it.
Unless we already have a behind the scenes, behind the curtain, one world government, and it is in fact terrestrial technology, and we just don't know about it because they're not ready to take us over yet because the reptilians are real and the Anunnaki never left, and the fucking Joe Biden's a fucking robot, Kamala Harris is a goddamn reptilian, Hillary Clinton's a bitch, and Bill Clinton's a cuck.
You know,
The last two are true. And
you're not far off.
Joe Biden, we all know, I do not align, but either way, but Joe Biden, if that man is a robot, they got a lot of glitches to fix because that boy
1.0. We haven't got to 2.0 yet.
That boy ain't right.
What was it when they cloned the sheep? What was the name of that sheep they cloned?
Like Molly or some shit like that.
That was a little off.
Yeah.
This is what we got going on. But
you know me. I try not to fucking divide the masses or anything like that because I think that's the whole point of this whole government back and forth. And
I don't
the
think
Democrats
you're
and
that
Republicans,
far
but
off.
like Joe Rogan, Joe Biden, that man, he's nuts, and so is his fucking piece of shit son.
I don't think you're that far off. There probably is a one world government right now that runs everything.
Even if there's not a one world government, there's a one. I think that there's
collaboration
in some way, shape, or form. There's like a one government. There's a one. Fuck. What am I going with? A one world governed committee, possibly snowballing into economy.
Right.
If not government.
You know, so that's pretty. I mean, like I said, if those were human built, we're talking fucking 19 years ago. So now we got one more thing I want to cover about,
which, as we all know, like that 20 years, base give or take, is a lot can happen in a 20-year period.
Yeah, I got
Like,
I got 19 years older.
Well, and also like in the last 20 years, like we've went from not having smartphones to having smartphones. Because I want to say the first iPhone came out
in 2006 or 2004, somewhere right around there.
Ish, yeah, something like that. Because I'm pretty
sure
I was in high school.
That point. No, I didn't even have
I had a BlackBerry at once.
I had a BlackBerry up to 2010.
I think around that time, I didn't even have that. When I was in high school, I had a smartphone at one point, but for most of high school, I had a fucking Razor.
I think 2004, I still had a flip phone.
Oh, I definitely still had. If a flip phone even in 2004, I might have still had a fucking like Nokia bar phone. Back in the good old days when you used to go to the mall and get the light up batteries with the fucking see-through cases. Boss shit.
Boss.
Or you go far back enough where you got the quote unquote antennas, the little sticker that stuck on it, and when you received a cellular thing, it would light up the little sticker. I had like an American flag on. I was like, and I'm proud to be an American,
Okay, Toby.
even though my phone is Swedish.
All right. There's this. We're gonna wrap this up here, man. I want to cover this part real quick because I think this is the most intriguing part of this congressional hearing.
More intriguing than the AIDS puppets?
Yes. There was one
call
congressman
bullshit.
that asked David Grush about threats towards people. He asked him, has there been threats made to himself and other people? He responded with saying, that he could not say in a public setting, and that he directed these people to the proper authorities. When he was asked, have people been murdered or threatened or hurt in any way, he said, I cannot say in a public setting, but he did direct these people to the proper authorities. That is like saying
Yes.
yes, which means yes.
That's like you. That's
I cannot
like
confirm, deny means you just confirmed
yeah.
it.
If this was a fucking like HBO comedy series, he would have said that on the stand, and then he would have very obviously like fucking a sarcastic level of obviously winked at the camera. That was a break the fourth wall moment in a TV show.
And the congressman that asked this knew this was going to be his response, because he said that he asked this question for the mere purpose of getting it on record, and he asked him if they could go to a SCIF, which is basically a meeting where they discuss classified intel. And this congressman was denied a SCIF meeting, going to a SCIF with this exact question. So that makes it interesting.
It is interesting.
What he did admit to was multiple colleagues have been physically injured by government agencies and UAPs, so abduction type shit. Grutch stated that we do have alien bodies in our possession. Once again, when asked about how he knows via pics, videos, and interviews, he had not seen these bodies firsthand. He could say,
excuse me,
but he could say more. That's all he could say in public. If they wanted to know more, they had to go to a SCIF. So obviously he knows more than what he's saying.
I'm going to withhold my opinions on this until you're done with this part of this.
Grush was asked about what people or agencies needed to be brought into be questions in future hearings. His response was interesting. He said that he could provide a list of cooperative witnesses and hostile witnesses right after the hearing.
Now, is that the actual wording?
That pretty much, I mean, yes. The cooperative and hostile is exact.
What is that? I mean, what do you think that means? Cooperative and hostile witnesses.
People who have come forward in the government, like himself, who are cooperative, and then other people say, "I don't know."
Break.
You probably just broke the shit.
Not just now. I'm just noticing that piece is missing. No, what?
And he's referring to hostile.
Ow, I got a fucking cramp.
Referring to hostile, I take it as people in the government that have told him, "Shut the fuck up. We're not talking to you about."
See, and that's what I was wondering: is one, the verbiage there, or the use of words, and two, the use of words in the cooperative witnesses.
Just people,
because you would think that, in my mind, just from a point of legitimacy and I don't know whatever word you want to sprinkle on top of it, I feel like cooperative was a poor choice of words there.
Well,
I think corroborative would have been better.
But I think he was referring to more people like him,
that are
Graves,
just willing to
that are willing to discuss it, than other people that will not discuss it, that know more in the government than what they're.
Well, because that raises questions to me, because like it makes me wonder, like, who, if these are his words or if they were specifically selected for him to say, to kind of like You know what I mean?
That's a good question. I do not know. Now, this is not a response of if he was a hoaxer or just wanting 15 minutes of fame. That is a bold statement to make.
Yeah.
Very bold, because there was probably a conversation after the hearing.
Yeah.
They probably called him on it.
Well, I mean, for me, it circles back to, like I was bitching about Zahi Hawass earlier, one of the lead Egyptologists.
Right.
He doesn't say shit like that. He talks about how he'll debate people and have these conversations, and he just throws a fucking hissy fit and refuses to acknowledge anything brought to him.
Now, one thing this does prove, I think, that our legislative body, Congress, is being kept in the dark.
Or is Congress just playing ball?
I don't think they really fucking know anything. You know how everybody talks about the shadow government?
Yeah.
I don't think it's the shadow government. I think the Pentagon pretty much runs this fucking country, if I had to guess. We know
Along with the royal family of Great Britain.
We know the president has no fucking power whatsoever.
Yeah, he's just a figurehead.
Just a figurehead.
I mean, he has some semblance of power.
I think,
but it's not. It's not the. It's not. He's not the end all be all that they fucking make him out, the president, out to be on television and shit like that.
There is a committee or whatever of military, of high-powered civilians probably, that know more about this stuff than Congress.
Funny that this is all coming out now, Mr. Former Mason. How convenient of you.
Yes.
Wait, let's ask our two black co-hosts that are very quiet. Do you think that the Freemasons are doing this? Snoop Dogg with a Corona and Tech 9 say yes. Therefore, yes.
No, I think military. I think the military basically, if you want to call it the military-industrial complex, they pretty much run everything.
Oh yeah,
there's no question.
Yeah, 100%.
About it. So I do believe Congress is left like
Harry
Reid, who's no longer in. But he's been pushing for this for years. They don't
stuck on this broken piece.
They don't tell Congress anything.
They don't have to.
Right. So I think.
And I mean, who's always the guy? Like in fictional, yes, but like there is some truth to be found in most things and most media and representations, and like who's always the guy to the right of the president calling bullshit and trying to tell him what to do in movies and shit? A dude with a fucking military uniform with a shitload of fucking accolades on his chest.
Not to get too political on this show.
And I'm not shitting on the military before anybody fucking gets all. I'm all for our military. I think it's a little fucking.
There has to be a reason why every president in my lifetime, since I've been paying attention to politics,
has been rich,
has said on the campaign trail, has said something, or they're going to do something, or like Clinton, even Clinton wanting to find out about aliens,
not inhaling that weed.
Or, they have campaigned on a concept or promise or whatever. And when they get to office, they do nothing about it.
Mm.
They're probably, as soon as they take the oath of office, there's a meeting. And these people say, okay.
Yeah, they're briefed on
the
scenario. Yeah.
You're playing ball here.
Yeah.
And
because you hear all that shit on the campaign trail, but when they get in office, nobody says fucking balls.
They changed their tune.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Not that I'm a Trump supporter, but Trump did not play ball. He went after the intelligence agency. And look what's happening to Trump.
Can't say he might not deserve some of it. Some of it, maybe.
But like the Russians, he spent 4 fucking years defending his ass. They were coming after him from day one. Probably because he wouldn't play ball. So the Russian collusion shit, which turned out to be completely, totally made up.
Vladimir Putin's just in the background like, he's a fucking asshole.
So-
I do not work with this man.
I think this probably he did not want to play ball as much as, say, Obama. Because Obama basically was George Bush III. His presidency was... He did everything George Bush did. Continued the same wars. I mean...
Despite saying otherwise.
Right. I mean, so... Because Obama campaigned on getting out of Iraq.
So what you're saying is
This
Obama, even
what-
though being a quote-unquote opposing party member from George Bush, who he took over for,
was pretty much the same.
ended up being another cog in the system that is the government and Big Brother.
Right. So that's maybe Trump is kind of proof. You don't play ball, you're going to get fucked in the anus.
But let's be clear. He was still an asshole.
Oh, he's a big cock.
Just,
But most rich, powerful people are.
to be fair,
I'm a dick too, but I just don't have billions of dollars.
I did it on my own with a small $1 million loan from my father. Suck my balls, you
Anyway,
bad toupee having piece of shit.
One last thing I want to talk about. U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida said after the hearing, Gaetz said from images he saw of an object he was not able to attach to any human capability, either from the United States or any of our adversaries. This is important because this is a representative in the U.S. government making this statement that basically he saw something that defied our physics, that we did not create. There's no way we created it.
I mean,
even if he's completely wrong, for a sitting U.S. official, elected official, to say that is ballsy. There's something to this whole bullshit of UFOs. I think aliens are coming, Travis.
I think we all know that I think aliens exist. Actually, I don't think aliens exist. In my mind, I know they exist.
The question is whether they're have the capability of coming here.
I think what most of us are theorizing and hypothesizing on is fucking child's play compared to what is probably really going on in the grand scheme of the universe as we know it and as we live in today. And all of this shit that we're talking about, for the most part, I think in the long run will end up being frivolous, useless fucking banter, because what we're talking about is probably a drop of water in the ocean that is all of the crazy shit that's probably going on around us. And the reason that they're sprinkling out these little things here and there is because there's enough interest. They have to feed into it a little bit in order to keep us in some type of a trusting nature to the government, even though they probably know enough that it will just completely annihilate the simple brains that we really have, and all of it will just fucking unravel into anarchy if they tell us the truth.
Well, I would say this. What was your comment the other night when I told you what we were talking about?
Oh, no, I have a lot of comments about a lot of stuff.
But you basically said, opinion piece, or
Yeah.
This is not, in today's society, this world is so fucked up right now, this is not even hardly making news. You have to look for this shit. This shit should be breaking news. Everybody should be covering this.
But that's what I'm saying. I've been saying this for years. They sprinkle little what we think is knowledge, and they're like, there you go, feed the ants, and then let them go about their fucking day-to-day.
But here's the thing. If they were sprinkling this, ABC, CBS, NBC would be covering this more.
But that's not what everybody cares about right now.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to argue about Biden and Trump. Everybody wants to argue about left and right. Everybody wants to argue about I'm right, you're wrong. My guns, your guns. Totem and fucking...
In your concept, if they were sprinkling this to kind of smooth, to divert from what's going on, they obviously failed because it didn't even make a blip on the radar.
No, I don't think that's what they're trying to do. I think that they're trying to feed... By doing this, they're not... they're taking the attention of the people that are tired of the separationism that's being fed to the masses.
But it didn't work.
No. Because those people are fucking over it. Most of those, in my opinion, most of those people, I'm one of them, and I'm not saying this like that somebody with this thought process is more intelligent or more advanced or anything like that. It's just like you have a population of people that's just so fucking over it. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck what the Republicans are saying. I don't give a fuck what the Democrats are saying. So they're going to drop some knowledge like this in the hopes that 50% of the people that don't give a fuck what either side of the government is saying are going to go, now we're talking. Now we're talking about something. We're getting